Good morning YouTube! I see from the forums I'm not the only one having trouble with the lock on my glove box on my Series 2 Elan. So we're going to take it off and fix it today because it's important that we can lock the glove box, because unless we put this in a locked cupboard, you'll put it on the stereo, won't you? And also we need to be able to hide our stash from the feds. Getting the glove box lock out couldn't be much easier. If you open the glove box, inside there's a little plastic catch. Just leave that back with a screwdriver, pull it out, and then the whole latch can be removed from the front. If you want to remove the glove box completely, then get a 3mm Allen key on the latch there until you can just loosen. You don't have to take it off completely, just loosen enough so you can rotate it out of the way, and that will let the glove box hang down like that. And then the glove box itself, you might just about be able to see, you probably can't, but take my word for it, there's an R-clip on each end which secure each end of this pivot rod there, and once you remove those R-clips you can slide the rod out and get the glove box out completely. And that's actually quite useful. It gives you good access to, for instance, the ECU and to the back of the stereo and so on. Now once you've got your glove box lock off, there are a couple of part numbers on it which are shown in the caption down the bottom there. To be honest, I've put those in for reference, but they're not much use to you because they don't mean much to your Vauxhall dealer or General Motors dealer. They're obsolete part numbers now. However, I can tell you with some certainty that is a glove box lock off a Mark II Vauxhall Carlton. So it's a late 80s, early 1990s vintage Vauxhall Carlton. If yours is completely kaput and you just need to buy a new one, that's what you're looking for. For mine, all the problem is that my lock barrel, I don't have a key for it, so I just need to change that lock barrel for one that matches my ignition keys. So I'm just going to take this one apart and repair it. So come with me while we do that. Okay, the way this works is, if you see that roll pin that's horizontal as you're looking at it, that's pushed into the lock barrel, and when you pull the handle back, that engages with this arm, and it's that arm that releases the clip and releases the glove box. So that's in the unlocked position, so the pin is pulling on the arm. When you lock the glove box, you see now the pin's out the way, so the handle hinges, but obviously it doesn't operate the arm and doesn't unlock the glove box. Now, if you still want to go ahead and dismantle this, you need to remove these two roll pins. There's two roll pins, short roll pins in each end which form the pivot. So it's not just one roll pin going all the way through, it's two roll pins. You have to pull them out to the right and left as you're looking at it. Now, the only way I've found to do that is if you get a veneer pin. That's an almost perfect fit in the end of the roll pin, so you can just put that in the roll pin there. Then get a bit of pliers, and with a bit of judicious manipulation you can then get enough of a grip on it to pull the pin out. So the one on the opposite side to the latch, you can pull that one out completely. This one on the same side as the latch, just pull that back but don't withdraw it completely. So if I can get that in there. Just pull that back to about there, and then you can see that now the handle's released, the handle's free to come out. So don't go back any further than that, otherwise the latch mechanism will all come out. But with that, you can withdraw the handle now. Now, as you can see, there's a little spring in there, and that's now free to come out. So make sure that doesn't go flying across the room, never to be seen again, because you're going to need that when you put it back together. But you should now be able to just gently gently withdraw the handle and the lock mechanism. So the only thing that remains is to put it back together, which, given how easy it was to get apart, should be a doddle. Now, the first job then is to put the pin in that holds the lock barrel in place. So place the lock at about 45 degrees, and there's a little hole there that lines up to allow you to get the pin in. I noticed a few people on forums are complaining of this pin coming out or going too far into the hole, so it's not a bad idea just to maybe put a bit of thread lock, a bit of Loctite on the end of it, just to secure it in place so it can't move about once you've got the lock back on. You know, don't go mad with that, don't use half a tube of super glue or anything, otherwise you won't be able to get it out when you need to replace the lock in future. But I'm just going to put a bit of thread lock just on the very end of the pin there and shove that in place. And the next thing is this little spring that returns the handle. Now that sits in like this. So there's a long arm is sort of at the top as you're watching it, the short arm is at the bottom. And then he does go in, he just doesn't know it yet. Now I've had a quiet word with it off camera and it's agreed to go in place, so that's how it looks. Now the roll pin, and we're just going to put that in that far, get the other one slightly out of the way, and now we're ready to put the handle back in. Right, to put the handle then back on, we're going to turn the lock so it's in the locked position to get the pin that holds the lock barrel out of the way. And then the real fiddle with this is that that catch has to go underneath that spring, okay? And that's why you're going to need to hold the roll pin in there so the spring can't go flying out while you shove this in there. So get that pin out of the way flush, then insert the handle. And give it a good push. Put your roll pins back in at either end if you can get them to go in. There you go. There you go. That's the job done.
Hey man, how far you going, man?
Oh, right here it'd be fine, man.
Oh, man, you ain't not scared of a little speed, are you, man?
Oh, you got some speed, man?
And if you laughed at that last bit, MI5 are watching you.